you. So I'm glad you chose to
Yeah.
still do it. It's gonna be fun.
Change is crazy. Change is crazy. I will always love you. I will always miss you.
Okay, are we ready? Okay.
Hey guys, welcome to the Stationary Muse channel. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited for this series. Let me turn my phone off so I'm not getting distracted. Looks like everything is working, but let me know if you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. Basically, I just wanted to introduce this series really quick before I bring my guest on. So this series is definitely more God than me. This is definitely out of my comfort zone, as I'm sure if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know I hate going live. It always just makes me so anxious and jittery, but God placed it on my heart about a year ago to do this series, and I'm just so happy to be able to bring it to you. I'm so excited to share with you some of the women that encourage me and inspire me, because I know you guys tell me I inspire you all of the time, but the truth is, with a lot of all of us women out here, there are so many things that make us great and amazing and able to pour into other people. And so I want to share those amazing women with you guys. And so every Thursday this month, the Live, Love, Inspire series will be taking place at this time right here. And so I'm going to introduce you to my first guest. I'm going to read her bio. We're all official over here. So let me do my little fancy stuff real quick. So this is Ashley. Ashley R. Wright is dedicated to helping others reach their healing and wholeness. She is an advocate for self-discovery and uses journal writing to help people explore their thoughts and feelings. Ashley recently published her first written work called Dear Future Husband, The Waiting Space, in which she hopes to give women who are waiting for marriage a different take on their time of waiting. Ooh, I love it. She is a lover of movies, food, great books, and TikTok. Y'all gotta follow her on there. She'll be cracking me up. And believes in the power of conversation. And so right now, I would like to introduce you guys to a very sweet woman that I have really loved to get to know. And this is Ashley Wright, you guys.
Oh, hey, honey.
Hey! How are
I'm
you? um, Thank you so much for agreeing to kick this off with me. I know that this is a crazy time for everybody right now, and it was really heavy on my heart if I was even going to continue on and do this series just based off of how much stuff is going on. But if anything, I feel like God kind of pushed me to continue, because we need a release. We need somewhere to escape and to come and connect. And so thank you so much for still agreeing to do it and be a light to this community. Thank you so much. And so,
Thank you.
yeah, so if you guys could in the comments, I know you guys are watching, please let me know where you're watching from. We would love to see where you are located. I love how the internet connects people from all walks of life, all places of life. So let us know. And so Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us, how is your heart feeling today?
Oh, I love that question. The second question. Well, I guess the first one first. I I honestly, I am just a simple Southern girl who has God's grace and favor. Honestly, I don't necessarily think that there's anything over the top, phenomenal about me. But it's just truly just God and how He chooses to operate through me. But just as you said in my bio, I love food. Okay, specifically pizza. That is one of my favorites. But I love people. I love helping people to heal. I am one of six children, and so I have been around people all my life. So I think a large part of my family upbringing helped me to understand people at an early age and become insightful, and to really hear people. And so I think that if I had to name a gift of mine, it would be that I hear people. I listen to what people are saying and what they aren't saying.
Mm-hmm.
As far as how my heart is, it's tender, but it's still grateful. It's grateful for the space that we're in. It's grateful for this season and for this time. There is a lot happening. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. There's a lot going on in the world. But I'm grateful for spaces like this where we can come together and talk and release and unload, and just connect and still understand that there's great things happening in life, even with all the other necessary things that are taking place too. So that's how my heart's doing. It's tender, but it's grateful.
I love that. And I love that you said that you feel like one of your gifts is to listen. I think so many times we get so caught up in our own heads, our own opinions, our own whatever we bring to the table. And a lot of times it's just nice to just listen and take in what other people have to say. And so I really, really love
Absolutely.
that. That's a gift for sure. All right, so we're gonna dive right into the questions, and let me know, guys, how your heart is feeling today too. I know it's not just us that's dealing with this; we all are. So please share how your heart is. I see we got Philadelphia, Ohio. I got my family on here. Thank you guys for supporting me. Chicago is on here. Houston. Hey, Bonnice. Hey, Monique. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Joya. Thank you guys so much. My husband looks like he's on here too. So truly appreciate you guys so much. All right, and so the first thing I really wanted to do was just to kind of open up so everybody can understand a little bit more about your story and just what you do for the community, especially for women. I know for me personally, you are just such a light. You one of the things I love about you is that, like, everybody says like good morning or good afternoon, you always say great morning, and it's just like that the word great just like takes it to like the next level. It's like you're attesting to the fact that the day is going to be great, the more, whatever it is. And I just love that so much that you do that. Like, that's so joyful. So thank you for always being a light on my feed. I love it. But yeah, so tell us your story. Tell us how you got here.
Yeah, awesome. I always love this question. Again, I do count myself to be a very just simple person, but a few years ago, well, I'll do some backstory. So I've always written, I've always loved quotes, and I've always been, I can't even say in touch with how I feel, but I've always known that I felt a lot because I wasn't always in touch with it. But I used to always write, and that came just from a place of not really being in an environment that, promoted talking about how we felt, unless it was a sad occasion or like an extremely happy occasion. But day to day, there was not a lot of dialogue about that. And so I would write poems, I would write quotes, I would write just how my day was. I would reflect a whole lot. And that's where I found so much safety and so much affirmation about who I was. And so just throughout the years, from I would say maybe 8 years old on up to now, almost 33, that has just been my outlet. That's been how I've released. That's been how I've communicated, be it writing letters to friends if they're away at camp or if they're sitting next to me in class. That was just how I would communicate with people, because I was always more honest in writing than I was verbally. And it was a few years ago, I'd gone through just this insane breakup. That's a whole nother video, honey. But I gone through this crazy breakup.
I mean, we can have a little tea. We can have a little tea.
Honey, that tea is bad. Spoiled, honey.
Oh,
but no, but it was a relationship that I didn't need to be in, that God had told me I didn't even need to be a part of, but because of my own desire, I chose to be in the relationship. And so we had broken up. We tried to be friends and all this different stuff. And I remember I was writing one night and I'm like, God, you got to show me something else. This can't just be, a rough patch. This can't just be, just the darkest time of my life. Like, what are we doing here? And God told me in that moment, since I was writing, he's like, give this back to other people. The same way that writing has helped you, the same way it's healed you, the same way it's strengthened you, you need to give that back to other people because people need it. So I said, well, okay, Jesus, yes, I can do that. And so the next day I contacted my co-pastor at the time, and I coordinated my very first Strokes of Freedom workshop. And it was with young girls. So we talked about emotions and all those things. And I did another one with boys, and it just continued to grow. And it was really one of those things. You even mentioned earlier how you doing this particular segment was something that was all God. Strokes of Freedom is all God. And again, it's literally just a pen stroke, like you're writing your way to your own freedom. And so for me, I've just spent the past couple of years of really being focused on that and helping people to know that all the things that we've survived, no matter what those issues are, no matter what those circumstances have been, we have the power to write our way to freedom. There's so much healing in writing. If we think about music, there's healing in music, and someone had to write the music, be it just something instrumental. Someone had to compose it. Someone had to put lyrics to something. And we connect so much with the words that are in music, but we have those same words inside of ourselves. And so that's kind of fast forwarded. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got here, of just really dedicating my life to giving people space to heal, to giving people space to be heard, to be seen, and to really be honest with themselves about what they're feeling. So that's my mini journey, so to speak.
Well, that's a heck of a journey, and That is so beautiful that you're able to write to your freedom. I love that. That is beautiful. And I don't know how many of you guys journal. Let me know. Put a yes or amen or something if you journal. I'm just curious, like, because I feel like that is another way to release, because so many people do have that pent
Yeah.
up just feelings and energy. And you actually just put a video up on your channel I watched earlier talking about that, where people need to
Yeah.
have an outlet and writing is okay. And I loved how you said, I'm probably gonna mess up what you said, but it was like you said something about the pages can hold like your
Okay.
secrets and you can tell them whatever you want. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah, that is.
Oh,
I always tell people, like, just they don't speak back to you. The pages don't interrupt you. They don't tell you that you're wrong. They don't try to correct you. Like, the pages, they just absorb whatever you put out onto them. And so I think that's why it was always such a safe place, and it's been a safe place for a lot of people that I've been connected with. Even in some of the counseling I've done, I gift journals to a lot of the parents or the children and say, hey, this is your space, be it a communication journal, be it just something for them to reflect for themselves, but giving people that space, because in all actuality, on the day-to-day, we're not given a lot of outlets and opportunities to just share how we feel. And some of that is our own insecurities about really vocalizing things. And some of that is just the environments that we're in. They don't really promote us speaking and, and sharing different things. Or it makes us super vulnerable. So I'm that person who I want to make someone vulnerable. I want to make them comfortable with being vulnerable, because that's where they're healing. That's the next step for the healing. So yeah, the pages, they don't speak back to you. They soak up whatever you give to them. And that to me is wonderful, because I give these pages a lot, honey.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, wow. I really need to get into journaling. That's something that I've not done. And I know a lot of you guys that follow this channel, you're in the planner community. You love all things paper products. I see Sandra, she said, not currently, but I have several journals. I feel like that is the story of my life. I got a journal probably for every moment, but don't have nothing written in it. So, yes, it's crazy.
I would out. It's like, actually, you don't need 45 journals.
Right. It's like
that's
just
not what you
one.
need.
Just one. It's okay. It's okay. And then, my mom, she said she used to. Oh, mommy, I didn't know you used to journal. Yeah, I think that is so positive. Yeah, I did not even know that. I used to have a diary when I was younger, if that counts. And then Veronica said, "Ooh, I love what Veronica said." She said, "I write a mantra for what I want to come into my life." I love that. I love it.
Yes, I love that.
Okay,
I'm
you guys. I love that.
Girl, that.
And so you guys know this is the Live, Love, Inspire series. And so, of course, I have to be corny and I have to have a question that kind of fits in with the live, the love, and the inspire. But I want it to naturally fit. And so since you were talking about how you journal and that is how you have your outlet, I want to kind of take just a moment for the love portion of it and really share with us what are some ways, including journaling, how do you love yourself hard? Like, how do you show up for yourself? What is your self-love makeup? What does that look like for you?
What I love about this question, Tatiana, just as I'm processing now, it's the idea of people understand love to be one thing, but love is different for each person. So I think even before I would even try to figure out like how to love myself, I had to first figure out what I loved about myself and then what love meant to me. And when I was able to understand that helped me on what I call just a self-discovery journey. And that's how I showed myself love. I showed myself love by discovering who I was. What did I like? What did I not like? What did I hate? What was I attracted to? What clothing did I desire? How did I like my hair? Like down to just the color of fingernail polish I would choose. I went on this journey a few years ago of really trying to figure out, actually, like, who are you? Because I can tell myself all day that I love myself, but what do I love about myself? Do I love my attitude? Do I love how I treat people? Do I love all this melanin? Like, honey, what do I love? Do I love, being sincere? Like, what things do I love? And so for me, I'm able to love myself hard now by keeping some sort of rhythm in life, but I had to first discover like who I was. And that's another large part of Strokes of Freedom, of just helping people know and understand who they are at their we have a person that we are at the core, and then we have what we show to the world. And so thankfully for me, I'm the same. It's all connected for me. It's not a thing of, oh, let me be this way for this person or that. Baby, you're gonna get what you get. Okay, you're getting the whole thing, because that's all I know how to offer, because I've learned to love myself in the hardest way. And so in that, in terms of practical things, I take care of my mind. That's how I show myself that I love myself. I take care of my mind and I'm honest with me. And by being honest, I mean, I had to understand that whoever I am authentically, some people aren't going to be okay with that. Some people are going to love it. But at the end of the day, I had to share with myself that I did care what people thought, but not enough to control me, if that makes sense. And
Yes,
so
yes.
I choose to honor my mind. I choose to honor how I feel. I choose to acknowledge how I feel, because in that, that's showing me that I love myself versus years ago, I could process and I could feel something, but I maybe wouldn't process it, or I'd make it small and put it to the side. And so for me, loving myself hard is truly just being intentional about who I am, and how I present myself, because the more I put layers on trying to please other people, I hide me. I can't be hidden anymore. You see this yellow honey, she popping. She's out
She
here.
popping. She popping.
I hide me. I love myself enough to not hide who I am. I love myself enough to embrace me. I love myself enough to push myself into spaces and rooms that I was told maybe didn't belong to me. I love myself enough to be honest. I love myself enough to be corrected, you know? And so
Yeah.
for me, it was really the idea of putting aside whatever I thought I was and really discovering who I was so I could fully love her. And I hope that makes sense, because I think that was a lot of information
Oh my
at one
God.
time.
No, like, I'm trying to unpack everything you just said. But I think what really stuck out to me the most, there was two things. The first thing was that you said that you are not a different person in private that you are out in the world. And
Mhm.
I can even say that I'm guilty of this, because you feel like sometimes you might be your real self or who
Yeah.
you're comfortable with, but when you are not fully secure in who you are, you're still learning who you are as a woman, it's very easy to fall into, oh, well, let me be this way around these people, or let me have this persona. And so that's something I'm learning as well. Like, I'll be 30 soon, and I feel like I'm starting to learn who I am too. Maybe I need a journal so I can get connected like you. But yes, I love that so much. I love that you are unapologetically you, and that is, I think, what we all are striving to be. Sonia, she
Yeah.
said, when you discover who you are, you meet and fall in love with your authentic self. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's
Yes.
almost like a relationship in itself. Like, you are literally
It
falling in love
is.
with you. Yes.
And plus, you have to. Well, before Corona, I would take myself on dates, and I
Oh,
would maybe treat myself to the movies, or I would go to a museum. Honey, I would go to restaurants, whatever it is. But I had to learn, to be okay with just spending time with me. You know what I mean? Like, and just really enjoying my
definitely.
own company. Because if I get to where I'm by myself and I don't like myself, I'm gonna constantly. And this used to be my life. I used to be that person, and I have great friends who can attest. I used to be that person who really could not and did not sit still. And hopefully that's the same even after Corona. But it was the idea of, the more I was by myself, it's like, okay, this isn't working. What's happening? And I would jet out, be it going to to Burlington, to Target, to Krispy Kreme, honey,
Yeah.
anywhere. I would find myself just out and about, and that God really sat me down. It's like, girl, deal with you. Process whatever you got to process. Figure out life. Why are you up and running all the time? What's going on? And so now, honey, that I've learned who I am, and I've accepted who I am, and I love who I am. I love all the layers of who I am,
Yeah.
the randomness and the deeper parts. Like, I just love who I am, and so I appreciate the time that I get to spend with myself. Because reality is, once I'm married, or if I have children, even after I'm married, I'll have to learn how to be with just me. You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
feel like if I'm able to accomplish a lot of that before I have those other relationships, if my relationship with self is intact and really secure, by the time I enter something with someone else, I won't have to try to navigate through all of those layers. I'll already have the core of who I am, and then I'll learn how to then operate with these additional pieces. But oftentimes we find ourselves connected to others before we fully connected to ourselves. And so
Ooh.
even though there's a lot of things in life for me that are happening later, I'm grateful because I have the capacity now to really support all that God wants to do, if that makes sense. Instead of it being that I'm, all over the place trying to rip and run, I'm able to sit still and really get the blueprint for what He wants for me to do. And that ultimately is what's most important. So yeah,
That,
honey, gotta get that relationship with
yeah.
yourself first. That's what you made.
That is very important. It's I think we all, a lot of times we do try to find distractions to avoid the real issue, and we try to just
Yes.
block it out. It's like, oh, I really need to get in tune with myself, but you're just too busy. You're just too got to get this done. Got to run around for this person. So I completely understand that. And my mom actually just commented on something that's going to segue into what I wanted to ask you next. My mom, she said, after becoming single after 22 years, it was an amazing journey learning who I really am. It was so freeing. And so the other part of this question I wanted to ask you is, how are you using this opportunity to set you up to love others hard when you do finally meet the man, or even, whatever the case is, just how are you setting yourself up to love your family, your friends, the women that you serve in your community? How do you then take that you have, and then how are you able to pour it out tirelessly to other people?
You know what? Honey, I love this question, because it's the idea of, once we have gained our own security, it's not even that we don't become security for someone else, but we add security to our arsenal, so to speak, and then we're able to pour that out. And so for me, it's the idea of, since there isn't an internal war, I can't make myself the focus. Beforehand, when I was at constant battle with myself, everything was about me. I couldn't even see someone else hurting. I couldn't understand what someone else was going through. But now that I'm settled, it's almost like I value myself, and I still place myself up front, but I'm able to see the needs of other people a lot more clearly. And so in that, my largest thing is I just make myself available. Again, be it creating a space similar to what you've done. I make myself available for people who need the love, for people who aren't even sure they need it. And they don't know they need it, because sometimes they can't even determine why it is that we're connected to one another, if that makes sense. And so I allow for myself to be in tune with God and with what he's saying. And I make myself available for him, but also for the people that are around me. And in that, I think one of the best ways to show a person that you love them and that you care for them is to be available and to listen. People get tired of people just talking and yapping at them. Yeah, listen, honey, I'll listen. Okay, escuche. But yeah, so for me, I'm all about, honey, I'm learning a little bit of Spanish, honey. But for me, I'm all about just making myself available. There have been tons of conversations and moments that I've had with people where I can hardly recall some of the information that I've even shared, but that's because it's not me speaking. I've made myself available for them to be able to hear and pick whatever it is they need up and carry on. And so that's how I show love to people. I show love by being present, by being committed, and just by showing up. And honestly, that to me is one of the kindest things, to let a person know that you hear them and that you see them, and acknowledging that even though I don't have the answers, I'll make myself available to help you figure out what the answers are. But I also show love just by, I don't know, I think just by moments like this. I love organic conversation. And so in me asking, some of my friends call me, as of late, they say I'm a box opener. I'm like, what's a box opener? But they're like, they get this pretty box and they pack all the stuff they don't want to talk about in it. It's like, I'm going to pack all these things away, all the concerns, all the worries, all the emotions. They pack it away. They put the lid on, they wrap it up really pretty, and they push it to the side. I'm like, I'm not going to open this box. And then I come along like, what's in this box? Let's open it up. Let's see what's in here. And not on purpose, but with purpose. And in that is the idea of, if we live our lives only going to certain limits and not dealing with who we are, and not dealing with traumas we've experienced or different life issues, we're the same person for forever, and we don't give ourselves room to grow. And so that is my gift back to people, for lack of a better phrase, is to help them open those boxes that they're trying to hide, because that frees them, and that frees them to pursue purpose and passion, and that frees them to go and heal whoever else I'm not even designed to reach. That gives them room. And so I love people by helping them to process and to be vulnerable and to really unpack. And we laugh through all of that. I make sure I get a giggle in with the people, honey, because laughter is so good for the soul. So I make sure that I pour out of myself only what has been poured into me. And then I go back to my Jesus, and he fills me back up to go out and do whatever else he needs me to do. So that's my contribution to loving people.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, I saw when you sent me your bio, I saw box opener. I'm like, I'm gonna let her explain that, because that sounds really deep. Let her get into that. But that is so true, and that's definitely a gift, because not everybody can get people to open up and share and feel comfortable to be vulnerable like that. And I think as women, because we're always so busy and we always have 10,000 people wanting us to do this, that, and the third for them, it's really easy to just put everything in that box and just let it sit there looking all pretty. Until you finally one day, at least I know for me, you have a meltdown or you have a breakdown, and it's just like, whew, and you don't realize how much you're holding in. It's very, very real. All right, let me see what people are saying in the
Yes.
comments. We got a couple of comments. People are loving you. They're agreeing with everything you're saying. Okay, so Veronica said a couple things. She said, "Be truthful to yourself so you can be truthful with everyone. True friends will stay
Yes.
and add to your life instead of draining it." Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
that's even like
Mm-hmm.
that. You know, how they say people are just there for a season. Yes, that is so
Yes.
true. And then she also
People, yeah,
said,
people.
yeah. And then she said, yes,
Okay.
listening is learning something new every day and educating yourself and pass it on. You never know who it could be to help someone not feel, who could
Yes.
help someone not feel alone. Yeah, that's right. You never know what
Yes.
people are going through.
You don't know. Like everybody's someone who's got something going on. And I think if we think about the fact that we can see ourselves in other people, it may not be the same circumstance, but if I wake up today and say, "Oh, I've got a headache," or "Hey, I'm not feeling that great," or "Oh, maybe I'm feeling sad today," I have to also think maybe someone else is experiencing those same things or something different. I
Yeah.
think that adds to just the compassion of who we are as people, as well as just the insight that we can open ourselves up to know that so everybody's going through something. Life doesn't stop for everyone else just because we're experiencing life. And so, yeah, so I love what she said. I think that's really, really true. It's so awesome.
Yes, yes, definitely. You guys are like really deep in the comments. Oh, Sonia gave you a very beautiful comment. She said, "This is so good, Ashley. Your wisdom, knowledge, and experience brings honest introspection and freedom to others. So pure." Oh, that is so sweet. And she
That is
does.
just
See, I
awesome.
told
Thank you,
y'all,
Sonya.
like she just from this 30 minutes, she already picked up on that. Like you have such a just beautiful spirit. So, thank you again for joining with this because this is so good so far. So
Yeah, I'm
the
enjoying
next, I am too, and definitely you guys in the comments, let us know, how do you show up for other people, and how do you show up for yourself? What are those ways that you kind of can differentiate? When it's time for you to kind of like hit the brakes on somebody, so that you can unpack your own things you have going on right now, which I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of full boxes right now, honestly. But yeah, so the next question I wanted to ask you is, how do you live your life to the fullest?
Mm. I feel like I've added some elements in here already, but I think for me, my approach is that I choose to. Now, I don't choose to every day, but on
Yeah.
the days that I choose to live it to the fullest, it's really one of I think I think sometimes when we hear that question, we think about the more outrageous things or like the fun things or just the bigger things. I think I choose to live it to the fullest by being honest with myself in terms of what I'm capable of, like in terms of day to day, and then what I desire to actually do. And so to me, the fullest is not even taking advantage of all the opportunities, but taking advantage of moments that I get with people, moments like this, moments that I had with friends earlier. Just I take advantage of the fact that time is so finite. Like it is
It
not something that's going to
is.
last forever. And so I live it to the fullest by being intentional about things I do and places I visit and people I talk to and things I watch. Because if it doesn't add to me, then chances are it's probably taken away or it's simply just not adding. And what's the purpose in that? And so I think for me, I focus on why I'm positioned here, and I know that I'm not here for a long time. And in that, I allow for myself to enjoy life. Again, I allow for myself to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning, talking with friends and laughing. Moments, like those are heart filling moments. And to me, a full life is not even always a happy life, right? But it's a life that you can look back on and say, like, wow, like I have some great moments. I have some intentional time that I carved out and that I spent with people. And so I
Yeah.
don't know. So nothing overly fancy. I think I just live it to the fullest by just being intentional about the space that I'm in, the space I create, and the people that I spend time with, and the moments that I'm able to create with those people.
I cannot agree more. Yeah, Veronica said, "Amen, amen." I think that is so true. I think out of everything that we value in life, we got material things, money, careers, all of these things. None of it really matters other than really the relationships and the moments that you create with those people,
Nope.
because all that other stuff could go away. So,
Yes.
yes, that is so 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 true. And what would you say is, if you could just pick out of your day? You don't have to tell us like your whole day, but what would be one of your favorite moments of your day? And maybe if is there something that you do as kind of like a ritual each day when you wake up or before you go to bed, that's kind of like your moment?
Um. So that's good because I'm going to say this and then I'll answer. For me, I am a huge fan of people carving out me time every single day. There's been times where I've gotten home 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Who knows what I was doing, honey? But no, where I've gotten home, late hours, but I'll still take 20, 30 minutes just to myself. That may be me reading, that could be me praying, that could be me watching TikTok videos, but it's time for me to commit to myself. I do the same thing at the top of my morning. So even like today, so I got up today, and I didn't feel in like the highest of spirits. Like I wasn't sad, but with everything going on, when my morning starts, I lay there for a bit. I take a few deep breaths and I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to get on up. I bought these blackout curtains, which was a mistake, honey, because when I tell you these things work, I was in here, it's like 10 o'clock. I was like, I got to rise up. But I make sure I open my blinds every single day. And that to me is just letting the light in. It's a reminder that, hey, here's a new day. And most times I wait for the birds because the birds are always chirping. So I wait for them to really give me the sign that, hey, girl, it's time to get up. But I really just make sure that whatever moments I enjoy, that I take advantage of those moments. And so that maybe opening the blinds, I practice a lot of deep breathing. But every single day I carve out time for myself. So again, it could be Netflix, it could be a movie of some sort, it could be reading, or it could be TikTok. It just depends on, what I'm in the mood for that day. But 15, 20 minutes to myself is just how I make sure I honor myself each day, of just making sure that I've spent some sort of time with myself. And most times it's doing something that's completely mindless, like TikTok again, because I've said that 3 times by now. So clearly I love TikTok.
Go follow her on her TikTok, y'all. Help her get them views up so she can go viral.
It's not one of the best releases because it's the creativity, it's just so fun to see people, and it's really awesome. But I love things that make me laugh, that really get, that really just have me appreciating other people's laughter and other people's creativity. So that's just what I normally do in that window that I have for myself.
I love that. I think it's so important, no matter what point in your life that you're in as a woman, whether you are young or you're more seasoned, married, single, kids, whatever. I think me time is so important, and the fact that you do it twice is amazing. Like, I know me as a mom, I find like I get so caught up even like just in doing my business stuff and being with my daughter and my husband that I like literally never make time for myself. Like, it's ridiculous. And I feel like, oh, I'm working on my business, so that is like for myself, but not really. So I'm going to, I need to take a page out of the book, you guys. That's an action that we can take away from this, that we need to, let's try to make like a 15, 20 minute moment in our day, something you like to do. The comments are actually, I'm pretty behind, so let's see what people are saying. Monique, my bestie, my girl, Monique, she said, do you feel your friends and family were supportive during your journey, or did you find people closest to you were more negative?
That is a great question. And I'm assuming she means the self-discovery one. I told who I had to tell, and they were completely supportive. One thing I can honestly say just about my life and people that I'm connected to and surrounded with, and this to me is just all God, I don't have negative people around me. And it doesn't mean that we don't have negative thoughts, that we don't have negative moments with each other. But when it comes to even my mother, who maybe doesn't understand a lot of the career stuff, like, well, you're gonna leave social work, you got 2 degrees, well, you're gonna go be a model. She supports it, right? It's not something that.
Oh yes, y'all. She's a model as well. By the way, she's a model. Go check out her beautiful photos. I photographed her before. She is gorgeous. Please go check her out.
Anyway. Yeah, so those types of things, but it's the idea of the people that I'm surrounded by. They don't mind expressing themselves, but it's also they fully support. And so even with the self-discovery journey, if I was going off the grid to where maybe I was going to be active or wasn't going to be around for social gatherings, I contacted who I need to contact and say, hey, I'm going off the grid, or I'm going to spend just I'm taking the next few moments to do whatever, the next few weeks to do whatever. And they're like, hey, all right, just let me know if you need anything. I'll check in, so on and so forth. But that way they know that I'm still here, I'm well, because I want to honor that part of the friendship too, without just blocking people out. But they also are able to respect the space. So everyone was honestly super supportive. Honey, they were probably ready to see it because they were probably tired of me just being, mopey and sad. They were probably like, oh, baby, go do what you got to do. Go ahead and discover yourself. So honestly, I have been very extremely blessed to be connected to and surrounded by people who just I mean, they're amazing. They're awesome. I could not ask for a better community, honestly. It's been very phenomenal just experiencing life with them. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think it did, and that is so beautiful, and that is a blessing to be surrounded, because I know there's so many of us that we don't feel like we have people that support us. We feel like no one relates to us, no one gets us, and that's a hard space to be in. And I think it's even more important if you feel like you are surrounded by negative people to even take a moment to figure out how to remove that negativity out of your life, figure out what you need and what you don't need, for sure.
Yeah, reflect. I think also for me, it would have been easy for me a few years ago to think that, oh, nobody gets me or I'm isolated. And it was never reality, but it wasn't until I fully began to vocalize what I needed, began to really explore who I was, that I realized that the people, they were already there. You know what I mean? They were already in place. It was just a matter of me coming into myself for me to know that I'm not isolated. Will we always agree? Absolutely not. That don't even make sense. But once I was able to really vocalize more about myself and what I wanted to accomplish and things I was working on, it was like they were just waiting for me to get to that space for them to come beside me. So I used to feel like, oh, nobody can understand. But I'm like, how do I know they won't understand unless I share, unless I vocalize, unless I, do some vision casting with them about what I want to accomplish? I'm not going to know if I'll have their support until I really start speaking about it. And so I challenge people even with that. A lot of times we will assume that people won't come alongside us, or that we won't have their support, but share some thoughts, share some ideas. And every idea isn't to be shared with every person, but they'll teach you that along the way.
Yeah.
We have to open ourselves up, to receive people who want to support us. So yeah.
I love that. So yeah, I mean, if any of you guys have people in your life that you're nervous to tell something about, just put it out there. They might surprise you. They really might. They may be more supportive than you think. This is my sister. My sister Tia. She said, "Being so young, I love this. You are giving me great advice. Taking myself on a date is 100% something I need to try." I need to try that. Like, I never go anywhere by myself, like, intentionally. I'll go to the store or something like that. But, like, let me go to the movies by myself and get my popcorn. I got to share it with nobody.
But I tell you, it is the best experience. And I think too, we as women, but of course as people, but since we're women here, we have to get away from thinking that we're selfish, or that, oh, I'm robbing someone of it. No, like, carve a time. If you may start out with once a month of just planning a time for yourself and not budging from that, unless, you have to, like, in terms of emergency wise, but it's the idea of making yourself a priority. It doesn't mean that anything else is less important. It just means for those 2 or 3 hours that you spend by yourself, that you're what's most important in that moment. And there is liberating. Like I said, honey, I would go get me a large popcorn. I would have to put some popcorn on the bottom, sprinkle it with my little butter and salt, put the rest of the popcorn, that way it's mixed up together. And I would grab that. I would go and sit and watch my movie. And typically, I don't even buy a whole lot of snacks at the movies, but it's my date, so I'm going to do what I want to do. So I'll get whatever snacks I'm getting, and I would just go and enjoy the movie. I would get dessert when I would go out to dinner, like, because we have to know, like, what we're worth. Like, we're worth spending time with ourselves. We're worth being treated nicely. And that starts to spill over into other things. So, yes, everybody, take yourselves on a date, like a date. Okay?
I'm going to mark that in my planner. I'm going to put that in my planner. I'm going to put my date night. I'm going to let my husband and Emery know, even though she don't understand. I'll be like, I'm out, y'all. Sorry, but not sorry. All right.
Sorry, not sorry.
So my last kind of like portion of this is the inspire. And so one of the things that, I always set out to do is to inspire women to go for what they want in their lives. And I know that you are constantly inspiring people through your platform and your voice. And I know that you recently came out with your Dear Future Husband journal. I know you have all these pop-ups going on. Let us know, how are you inspiring others during this time, beyond this time, before this time? Like, what all can we expect from you? What are you working on?
I love it. So so I do have my journal here somewhere. I had it earlier, so it's crazy that I don't
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
I remember you were holding it.
Yeah, I definitely had it. Anyway, so the journal, that's published. I think on a day-to-day, inspiration-wise, just in just personal conversations and sometimes on my platforms, it's really just about sharing with people the importance of just being their authentic self. I think we're in like this phase and time where we feel like we have to be someone else, we have to look like this or do that. But I've learned that my greatest reward always comes from me just being who I naturally am. I don't have to perform. I don't have to put on all these different hats. I can just be myself, and that is what that's what allows me to be free and honest in what it is that I do. But in terms of just concretely inspiring people, that's always my conversation. Just to be yourself. But the major part in that is, even with the pop-ups, I encourage people to honor their feelings. And to give themselves grace. There's a lot that we experience day in and day out. And so I want for people to give themselves space to just process that, to think about what they enjoy about life, what they enjoy about themselves, and not so great things that are happening. And in that, they're able to release and really make room for all the things that are super important. And so that's just my nugget of freedom, so to speak, that I give back to people as inspiration of just you have so much ability. But we limit ourselves. And so in that, the more that you take those limits off, the more you explore, the more that you process and make yourself vulnerable, the more you release things, you make room for more happiness, you make room for more joy, you make room for more peace and for more creativity. And that is really what allows you to start seeking new adventure. So I honestly think that just by me choosing to be me every day, and not like in a boastful way, but by me choosing to be who I am and choosing to release my journal. I have a question book that I'm working on. I have a quote book that I'm working on. A different YouTube content. A little razzle dazzle. I'll be happy. I've been doing those things. There's been countless of people who, again, it is not even by my own strength. There's some people who say, because you did X, Y, or Z, that inspired me to just go ahead and start with this. I've been writing more because of that. Writing gives you room to explore, and we don't even know fully what's all inside of us until we've explored it. It's like an empty cave of some sort, or like you go on a treasure hunt. You don't know what that treasure is going to be, but you have to first start to navigate. You have to first go to the first clue, and the second clue you have to explore. And it's the same thing for us as people. So I think I give people space to explore by asking questions, by creating spaces, and in that, by me releasing certain things and writing certain things or just advertising certain things, it gives them room to say, I could probably do this thing I've thought about doing for 5 years. It's like, just do it. So my thing is, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? Either you're going to figure something out and it's going to be a pain, or you're going to figure out that, hey, this isn't great, but you still learn something in it. So I think I just inspire people by just being who I am and just doing what I know to do, which is just I'm just here. Like, I'm present. And in me being present and giving people insight on whatever it is I'm working on, that gives them room to really think about some things they want to do, or the person they want to become, or some healing that has to happen. So I think I just provide a space for that. Again, nothing fancy. I think I just give a space for people.
But it's a needed space, though. It's such a needed space, for sure.
Yeah, it's a space for themselves to really uncover what's there, for them to really start to build off of that, to get rid of some things, to add some things. So yeah, I give the space.
I love that. I have another question about that too, but let's see. Joya, she said, what I learned so far this year, and that in order to elevate myself, which is my word for the year, elevate. Okay, I like it. I have to be intentional. Ooh, I love that. Yeah. Intentional is, I've been saying that a lot. My husband always makes fun of me. I say it all the time. I'm like, I need to be intentional about this, but it's true. It's like, there needs to be a purpose behind what you're doing. You can't just be out here just doing it. So I love that.
It needs to be.
Oh, hey, Jaleesa. We are worth if you need your. So the other question I wanted to ask you as kind of a part 2 to that is, as far as if other women want to create their own platform or they want to put their voice out there, I know you mentioned kind of just like to just do it, just go for it, what's the worst that can happen? I feel like I say that same thing, but even deeper than that, if they're kind of battling themselves a little bit, what are some tips that you have to get them moving in a direction to where they can put their voice up on their platform that they're dreaming about, but they're just kind of nervous to start?
Yeah, and the thing is, that is so common. We could probably talk for hours about how we have gone back and forth about different things we wanted to do and maybe didn't do it. I think that's just, it's common. I think what we first have to do, we have to just accept whatever our truth is. A lot of times our platforms or whatever things, whatever we're doing is based out of something that's personal to us and that we're passionate about and that we're connected to. If we don't know what we're connected to, if we haven't explored, if we have yet to accept our full truth, we're going to feel like we're not fully settled in whatever decision we're making. So the first thing I always tell people is just to accept the truth of who you are and where you are right now. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be a certain way. You don't have to perform a certain way. Everything does not have to be together. But for me, once I accepted, hey, I am Ashley Rochelle Wright. These are the things that I love. This is who I am. This is what I'm passionate about. From there is where anything else blossoms. And so the very first thing is, oftentimes, if we're going to use our testimony or our story, we have to first be okay with whatever our testimony and story is. I have to be okay with the fact that I went through this chaotic, breakup that was dumb. Looking back, it was so stupid, y'all. But, in the moment, it was like, oh, life is over. But
you live and you learn. We all have those stories.
Okay? But I had to look back and say, the reality is this is what I was experiencing. And a lot of what I was experiencing wasn't even connected to that situation. It was connected to other things that I had not yet healed from. And so for me, I challenge people to say, to get into that space of pain, figure out what it is, if it's more so led by your testimony and your story. But I challenge people to first accept the truth of why they want to do what they want to do, of why they're there in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then from there, that starts your process. The other piece is once you've accepted your truth, for sure this is what you want to do, don't put limits on it, but also don't have this grandiose idea about what it has to look like and how it has to be presented. It's nothing to make an Instagram page with your company's name on it. That can be your first step. That can literally be your first step. You may not have a single photo, but that can be your first, that can be your first go around or your first step. And so I think it's just the idea of starting. Share your idea with some people, figure out how others can support you, but you have to believe in what you're doing like yourself. And again, it can be a simple thing of just telling people, that's a step. Writing about it, that's a step. But it really starts with you accepting whatever your truth is and who you want to serve and what product you want to produce and all those things. But it really is just about getting settled in the reality of who you are and what you're here for. That is honestly just the biggest thing that comes to mind. It's just accepting your truth, accepting where you are. And then from there, you make peace with that. And then you flip it around for it to be something where you give back to others. And it just starts to blossom from there.
I love that. That is, she just dropped the mic, y'all. Like, literally, there's nothing left. I mean, there's no excuse. If there's something, I know some of you guys probably are feeling this way, it's something you've been wanting to pursue, but you have just been putting it off for whatever reason. And she's basically telling you right there to just accept where you are. You are going to constantly be growing and changing. And it's okay if you're not quite where you think you should be to start something. It's okay.
I think it's just there's just an intimidation factor sometimes. Like one of my girlfriends, she does amazing hair. Like she does a fantastic job. She's done my hair numerous times. But she was nervous about just starting. She was like, well, what about my logo? What about this? And you can start with any logo. It's just the idea of, because we want to present everything, in excellence. That is just, a given. Yeah. But sometimes the idea of just starting it, because once you've started it, once you've made something official, then you can start to add the layers to different things that you desire and what you want. But it's the intimidation of, what if people don't? What if we have to also be okay? Again, we care what people think. We just can't let that control us. So even if people don't like the color palette that we choose for our brand, that's okay. Like
it's not for them. It's not for them.
It doesn't mean that we're not open to, to feedback, but it's just the idea of sometimes we just have to start. We can't continue to talk about the podcast or the book we want to write or, the social media stuff we want to do or the contracts we want to get. Sometimes it's just a matter of doing it and doing it completely afraid, doing it and sweating from every crevice in your body, but just putting yourself out there, because if we don't at least put ourselves out there, we don't want to get to be 70 and 80 years old. It's like, well, coulda, shoulda, woulda, or for us to be bitter, because we just choose to make a decision. And it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It just means that you thought enough of your vision and what you're doing to just get out there. Honey, now's the time.
Yeah.
Small steps. You don't have to jump, and take out a $20,000 loan to open your restaurant. I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying get the menu items together, okay? Do some research. It's just starting, and that, honestly, your desire starts to build. The more you feed something, it starts to grow and it starts to build. So feed that desire. Feed those business plans. Feed those blogs. Whatever you want to do, start to feed that. Start to research that. Cater anything you research to those different things, and that desire will start to grow. And in that desire growing, your confidence grows. I mean, I guess it's science. I don't know if it's really science, but it makes sense. It's logical to me. So just feed whatever
Yeah.
you want to grow. You want your fear to grow, feed your fear. I don't want my fear to grow, honey, so I can't feed
Right.
that. Listen, you already know. That's not what we doing.
Right. I love that so much. Yeah, and I mean, guys, like she released her journal and she was nervous to do that, and like it's doing amazing. So sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith, and that is what this series is all about: is to inspire you guys to really go for what you want, no matter what circumstances. You can make it happen. And I have to read this comment. I'm like cracking up. My best friend
Uh-oh.
Monique is so silly. Oh, also, hey to the other Monique. There's two Moniques in here. Hey, girl. But yeah, so she said, just wait until COVID is gone. My husband is going to start calling me Casper for my disappearing acts. For like, with. Oh my God. Oh my
Go on that
gosh.
honey too.
But it's so true though. Like I literally am gonna just get gone. I am.
Yeah,
Like you got
I don't
to.
think we're not trying to punish anybody. We're just choosing to spend time with ourselves. So yes, honey, go on your date. Go on your dates with your girlfriends. Go on your date by yourself. Just go. You can go sit at the park.
Yes.
Whatever you want, just spend time with yourself. Because we're evolving constantly. So you want to always be in tune with yourself too. Because if we're not in tune with ourselves, it throws so much stuff out of whack. So yes, honey, he'll be all right. Let him know where that you're
Yeah.
headed out.
Okay, so I don't want to keep you guys too long. I wanted it to be an hour, but everybody is praising you, Ashley. We got Joya saying she
Oh,
sees why I brought you on. You're the bomb. My sister said you're such an inspiration. Jaleesa is showing some love, giving some clapping and all of that. My mom said that you have such a gift. You're truly a light and a blessing. I just want to like fill you up with all of this amazing positivity right now. And yes, they love you. So I hope you guys will go support her. All of her information is down in the description right now. All of her social media, her website, her journal, all of that stuff is available for you guys to connect with her. I promise you, she will make your day. When you see one of her little videos, she's like, "Great morning, y'all." I just love it so much. But yeah, so anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up for the night at all?
I mean, just y'all, honestly, we're already prepared for whatever it is that we're called to do. My stepfather gave me this, I guess, comparison a few years ago. And he talked about how for the Olympics, they don't just show up. They don't just show up and say, hey, I'm ready for whatever my race is, whatever my event is. They train and they prepare, months in advance, years in advance, a lot of them, for most of their lifetime. And so when they get there, they're already ready. So life has already written your resume. It's not about what school you went to. It's not about what certification you have. It's not about any degrees. It's not about your marital status. It's not about any of that. It's about what you already have on the inside of you. And that's what people need. People need it to survive. People need it to continue. People need it to laugh. There is no gift that's overlooked. There's not a gift that's small. There's not a gift that's too big. You already have everything you need for whatever it is you're purposed for. So don't doubt yourself. I oftentimes tell people too, a lot of times we doubt ourselves because there's a worth and value complex that we have. And I was sharing with a friend of mine, when babies are born, and Tatiana, you can attest to this with Emery, but when babies are born, we automatically want to give them gifts. We want to love on them. We want to make them laugh. We want to snuggle with them. We give them all this different stuff because we've already assessed in our minds that they're worthy. And the baby ain't did nothing. They simply have got here. They just popped out, but they haven't done anything to earn being worthy. And the same is true for us. If we were already worthy prior to even being here, but once we were born, we were even more worthy. We've been worthy our whole entire lives. So you're worthy of opportunities. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of grace. You're worthy of peace. Like you're already worthy. And we have to not doubt that. So you already have the worth. You already have the value. And you already have everything inside of you that you need. Life has given you that. So carry it. Do it. Do whatever you're supposed to do. Execute it and execute it well. But you're already ready, honey. They're already ready. That's all I got. That's it, honey. That's all.
Y'all,
They're already ready.
that is your takeaway. You are already ready. And Joya actually quoted it because I was definitely about to repeat it. Life has already written your resume. That is so good. I don't know if that's like a original quote. You need to like, I don't know, copyright that something because yes, that is
Off
so
the dome.
good.
I was
Off the
made
dome.
myself and that's what came out. But life has already written the resume. We're ready. We're qualified. We just gotta get out there and get it.
Yes, and you guys are all worthy. Yes, that is
Yeah.
so important. You are enough. You matter. You're worthy. You are here for a
Yes.
reason. Do not ever let any of that hide your shine, please. You are here for a reason. So I think to close
Mm.
out, this is really awkward, but I've been thinking about this since we started. So I told you guys that God has kind of like set this up, basically. And I never pray out loud or anything. I'm kind of just more of like a silent spiritual person to myself. But he is telling me to pray for you guys. So it might be
Yeah.
awkward. It might not make any sense. But I'm going to just pray for you guys really quick. I just want to first just thank you guys so much for coming on here. Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time out to meet with me this
Thank you.
evening. Like I've been saying, you are such a light. You are such a joy. Everybody has nothing but positive things to say about you. They're saying they're going to connect with you. So I really hope that they do. But yeah, I'm going to just have us end in prayer. And then if we want to say any last things, we can. But let's see how this goes, y'all. So, Lord, I just want to thank you today for allowing this platform to be a place for women to come together, to have Ashley come and to share her story and to give the impact that these women need in their lives at this difficult time. And beyond that, as people will watch this and see it even after we're live and after we've moved out of this chaos that we're currently dealing with, I just thank you for creating her to come here to share her beautiful message with us today. Our hearts are heavy, but at the same time, we know that you are our light and we know that we will get through this. We will make it. And I hope that you can just place it in these women's hearts. If they are feeling any bit of doubt or fear or resentment or anything, that you can just provide that light to them and to open them up to the possibilities of what you have for their life. Because like she said, life has already written their resume, and I want them to be able to share that resume with the world. So thank you, Lord, for bringing us together, and everybody be safe. Amen.
Yeah. Come on, praise the Lord.
This is why I don't pray out loud, but I really care that much about you guys, that I would do that. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Please connect with Ashley. We will be doing this every Thursday. Jaleesa is actually in the comments. She's going to be next week. I haven't even announced it yet, so I'm telling all you guys that are here on live. So yeah, it's going to be a really good time. Thank you again, Ashley. I just can't say that enough. This was so good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And I don't even know if I said amen. If I didn't, amen. I don't even know if I did. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm going to let y'all go. Have a good night. All right. Bye, guys.
Good night, y'all.